Hi, this is your swine flu infected professor. I'm going to miss class yet again, and I apologize for that. But I'm trying to make up for that by providing you this video, which will give you some information about estimating sales and creating income statements. The estimating sales portion of this replicates the information in the handout, estimating sales revenue, that you received on Wednesday. But in case that information wasn't clear, let me give it another try. All right, so let's talk about estimating sales, and then we'll talk about creating income statements. First of all, to estimate sales, it would be ideal if you had specific information about the purchase patterns and the purchase habits of the customers that are in your target market that you've already identified for your business. So, for example, if you had a grocery store, you might have known, as you may remember from our discussion in class about customers, that the average organic consumer spends $127 a week on groceries. And you could take that $127 figure times 52 weeks, times the number of people that you thought would be in your target market, and you'd have an estimate of sales for the year. Or, as you may remember about the CVS example, CVS knew that 80% of its customers were women, and that those women fell into three groups. They knew that 16% of their customers were like Caroline, who visited once a week, spent $20 a trip. So 52 weeks times $20 gives you an estimate for how much each person in this 16% group would spend at CVS. They knew that from Vanessa, another 16% of their customers, they would have a once-a-week visit, 52 weeks, times $20 a trip, and now they've got an estimate for each person in that next 16%. And finally, in the last 38% of their customers, they knew this person spent $15 a trip, visited 3 times a month, so now we have 15 times 3 times 12, or 45. 3 times 12 or 36. So we would have a dollar figure for each person in this customer group. And then you would just simply add those up. That would give you the amount of money that you would get from 80% of your customers, add in a figure for the additional 20%, and you'd have an estimate. But not everyone has these nice, precise figures. Some of you may, because you may remember from the customer description section of your business plan, you were to try to get some support to provide estimates for how much each person would spend, and you were also to address the buying cycle. How often does each person come into your store to make a purchase? But if you don't have that information, then you need some other method. And so let's talk about what those some other methods might be. And when talking about that, we'll use a specific example of a pizza restaurant located in my hometown of Tiverton, Rhode Island. Now, one method might be to look at Business Analyst Online, and that's what this BAO here stands for. And in the average retail expenditures report that you could get, once I've determined what my drive time polygon area is, I could find out, for example, that the average household spends a little over $2,800 a year on food away from home. Now, obviously, they're not going to spend all of that at my pizza restaurant. So I would then need some way to take that $2,800 figure and back off from it to find out how much of that would be spent on pizza. But I don't have access to that kind of information, so that method's not going to work. So then we might go to method 2, which says, okay, let's think about who those customers might be. Pardon me. And since I'm going to be selling gourmet pizza, of course, my pizza restaurant, then my customers are likely to be foodies. And so if I can get some estimate of the number of foodie households in my area, combine that with an estimate of what the average check might be per visit, and the number of average visits, then I could calculate some sort of estimated sales. And in fact, that's exactly the process that we're going to go through.